Was Nietzsche the most misunderstood philosopher of all time? This question has haunted intellectual circles for over a century. Friedrich Nietzsche, the fiery German philosopher, continues to ignite debate and controversy, his ideas often misconstrued and misrepresented. While other giants like Socrates and Marx faced misinterpretations, Nietzsche's legacy seems particularly plagued by distortion. From the outset, Nietzsche's life and work have been shrouded in misunderstanding. Born in 1844, Nietzsche lived a life of intellectual brilliance and physical suffering. He challenged conventional morality and questioned religious dogma. His provocative writing style left his work open to misinterpretations. One common misconception is his declaration that God is dead. Often taken out of context, it paints him as an advocate for atheism and nihilism. However, a closer look reveals a more nuanced perspective. This essay delves into Nietzsche's thought, disentangling truth from misunderstanding. By exploring his key ideas, the death of God, the will to power, and the Übermensch, we can unravel the complexities of his philosophy and understand his profound impact on modern thought. God is dead, Nietzsche famously proclaimed. These three words, often ripped from their philosophical context, have echoed through history, branding Nietzsche as a prophet of doom, a champion of nihilism. However, to reduce Nietzsche's complex philosophy to such a simplistic interpretation is to fundamentally misunderstand his message. When Nietzsche spoke of the death of God, he wasn't simply referring to a literal demise of a divine being. Rather, he was diagnosing a cultural shift, a waning of traditional religious belief and the values it once underpinned. He saw the Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason and scientific inquiry, as having dealt a fatal blow to the unquestioning faith that had long defined Western civilization. This death of God, according to Nietzsche, left a gaping void in its wake. Without the comforting certainty of religious dogma, humanity was faced with a profound existential crisis. We were adrift in a world stripped of inherent meaning and purpose, left to confront the terrifying freedom and responsibility of creating our own values. Nietzsche's pronouncement, therefore, was not a celebration of atheism, but a sober recognition of the challenges and opportunities presented by a world without God. It was a call to confront the abyss of meaninglessness, and from its depths forge a new path for humanity. Another frequently misunderstood concept in Nietzsche's philosophy is the will to power. This term, often misconstrued as a crude justification for domination and violence, actually represents a far more nuanced and complex idea. For Nietzsche, the will to power wasn't about brute force or political control. It was instead the fundamental driving force of all living beings, an innate striving for growth, self-expression, and overcoming. Imagine a seed pushing through the earth, struggling against resistance to reach the sunlight. This, for Nietzsche, exemplified the will to power. It's the artist pouring their soul into their work, the scientist tirelessly pursuing a breakthrough, the athlete pushing their body to its limits. It's our inherent desire to transcend our current state and strive for something greater. This striving, however, wasn't inherently selfish or destructive. Nietzsche believed that the will to power could manifest in both creative and destructive ways. It could fuel acts of great compassion, artistic brilliance, and intellectual exploration, or it could lead to aggression, exploitation, and self-destruction. Understanding the will to power, therefore, requires recognizing its multifaceted nature, its potential for both creation and destruction, and the responsibility we have in harnessing its power for good. Perhaps no other concept in Nietzsche's philosophy has been as consistently misinterpreted and misappropriated as the Übermensch, often translated as Superman or Overman. This idea, often seized upon by proponents of elitism and even fascism, has been used to justify ideologies diametrically opposed to Nietzsche's own. The Übermensch for Nietzsche was not a literal superhuman or a member of a superior race. It was instead a vision of human potential, an aspirational figure representing the next stage in human evolution. The Übermensch was someone who had overcome the limitations of conventional morality, the herd mentality, and forged their own path based on self-created values. This individual, however, was not motivated by power over others, but by a profound sense of self-mastery, creativity, and a deep-seated affirmation of life. They were not bound by the shackles of traditional morality, but rather created their own values, lived authentically, and embraced the fullness of human experience with all its joys and sufferings. To understand the Übermensch, we must reject the distortions of Nietzsche's ideas. The Übermensch was a challenge, not a totalitarian blueprint, a call to transcend the limitations of our current state and strive for a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. Twisted interpretations, Nietzsche and the Nazis. The tragic irony of Nietzsche's legacy is that his philosophy, intended to liberate individuals from the shackles of dogma and herd mentality, was twisted and contorted to serve the very ideologies he despised. Nowhere is this distortion more evident than in the Nazi Party's appropriation of his work. Nietzsche's writings, particularly his concepts of the will to power and the Übermensch, were selectively interpreted and manipulated to align with the Nazis' racist and authoritarian agenda. His sister, Elisabeth Forster Nietzsche, an ardent nationalist and anti-Semite, played a significant role in this misrepresentation, editing and publishing his works in a way that emphasized interpretations favorable to the Nazi ideology. The Nazis latched onto Nietzsche's ideas, distorting them to fit their narrative of Aryan supremacy and the need for a strong, dominant leader. They ignored his scathing critiques of nationalism, militarism, and anti-Semitism, choosing instead to focus on passages that could be contorted to support their worldview. Nietzsche's philosophy, however, was fundamentally at odds with Nazi ideology. He was a fierce critic of German nationalism, denouncing anti-Semitism as a symptom of a sick and resentful society. His vision of the Übermensch had nothing to do with racial purity or political domination, but rather with individual self-overcoming and the creation of new values. Nietzsche's true intentions. To understand Nietzsche, we must peel back the layers of misinterpretation that have accumulated over the years and engage with his work on its own terms. Nietzsche was a philosopher of self-discovery, urging individuals to question everything, challenge conventional wisdom, and forge their own paths. He believed that true freedom stemmed from recognizing the absence of inherent meaning in the universe and embracing the responsibility of creating our own values. His philosophy was a call to action, an invitation to live life to the fullest, embrace creativity, and strive for self-overcoming. Nietzsche's writing, often provocative and aphoristic, was meant to challenge, to provoke thought, and to inspire individuals to question their assumptions about the world. He was not offering a systematic philosophy or a set of easy answers, but rather a framework for critical thinking and self-discovery. To reduce Nietzsche's philosophy to simplistic slogans or to use his ideas to justify ideologies of hate and violence is to betray the very essence of his work. Nietzsche's legacy lies not in the distorted interpretations of those who would misuse his ideas, but in the enduring power of his call for individual authenticity, self-creation, and the courageous pursuit of a meaningful life. Nietzsche in the modern world. Despite the attempts to distort his message, Nietzsche's ideas remain strikingly relevant in the 21st century. In an era marked by rapid technological advancement, globalization, and the decline of traditional institutions, we are, in many ways, living in the world Nietzsche anticipated, a world grappling with the implications of a death of God. The decline of organized religion, the fragmentation of shared values, and the rise of individualism have created a sense of existential uncertainty, a void that many struggle to fill. Nietzsche's call for self-creation, for forging meaning in a world devoid of inherent purpose, resonates deeply in this context. Moreover, his emphasis on the importance of questioning, of challenging conventional wisdom, and embracing intellectual honesty remains as vital as ever. In a world saturated with information and misinformation, Nietzsche's call for critical thinking and independent judgment serves as a powerful antidote to the dangers of dogma and blind acceptance. From the realm of personal growth to the complexities of modern society, Nietzsche's ideas continue to offer valuable insights. His work encourages us to confront the challenges of our time with courage, intellectual honesty, and a commitment to creating meaning in a world seemingly devoid of it. Beyond misunderstandings. Friedrich Nietzsche stands as a stark reminder of the enduring power of ideas and the importance of engaging with them responsibly. His work, often misunderstood, serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of simplistic interpretations and the need for intellectual rigor. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, it is essential to approach ideas with a critical and discerning eye. We must strive to understand thinkers like Nietzsche in their full complexity, engaging with their work on its own terms.